overtime, so I got to get back and watch tape, but I'll open it up. Anything y'all got? Somebody got something, come on.
Terry, going to be available Saturday for you guys?
Still don't know yet. He didn't practice today, so he wasn't able to go, so we think he's close. I mean, he's come back twice, and it's just bothered him, and it's not really his injury as much as it is the rest of his body around it. Like, he's dealing with a calf strain right now. It's not his knee, so it's just every time he comes back, he's just struggling with other things, so I don't know if he'll be back or not.
Are you seeing any progress at the cornerback spot opposite of DeAndre Baker with the competition there?
Progress as far as I got a couple guys playing good. Mark Webb's playing better, Tyson Campbell's playing better, and Eric Stokes. Those three guys are kind of Amir Speed's in there too. So I mean, we don't really know which one's going to be starting yet. It'll be based on how practice goes between now and then. But they're all three playing. They played much better today.
Coach, in terms of that Wildcat quarterback spot, you also put a couple of guys there with Sunday night. What have you seen in that spot?
Well, we've tried to mix it up. Holyfield's done it before. Harrion did it on the scout team last year. DeAndre did it a bunch last year. Demetrius Robinson fooled around with it some. Terry hadn't been out there. Miko's still doing it. And then we've worked with James Cook. So there's probably 6 guys that can play it, and they all have a little different features. So we've shared that load.
Coach, about where Swift. I was just going to say, there's some interesting data out there, about second-year coaches and third-year coaches and how things seem to improve with each year. What was your takeaway maybe last year that you've been through this a bunch of times with Bama, but it's different when you're the top guy? And what kind of lessons are you carrying into this season that you want to do better this year? We talk about that with players all the time,
Yeah, I think you always want to get better as a coach. So what we try to do is look at areas we were deficient in last year. Where did we not play well? What did we not do well? A lot of our turnaround had to do with the players back for a second year. I mean, let's be honest. A lot of our success had to do with the fact that we had good players decide to come back. Now we're trying to replace those good players with players that were here or were recently signed. But as coaches, we're always trying to look introspective at what we could do better. 2-minute situations, third down and short. We weren't as good on third down as we thought we needed to be. Turnovers, like how can we improve ourselves? And you're always trying to do that, regardless of what year you're coaching, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 20th.
Is Cook about where Swift was last year? I know he came in late in the summer. Where's he at as far as picking things up?
He's very bright. I don't know how to compare him to Swift because they're such different kids. But as far as knowing their roles, I'd say he's where Swift was. But they're not the same roles. He's not as thick as Swift. He's a different kind of back. He's more of a slasher kind of guy.
With as important as the veteran leadership was last year, when did you know last year's team kind of had that it factor, and what do you think that could mean for this year?
I would say Notre Dame in the locker rooms when I felt like they believed and they kind of trusted and they kind of enforced things and the leaders took over the team. As far as this year, I don't know when that's going to come about. I think we're going to have some adversity for that to come out. I mean, throughout camp, we've had different guys lead. I really think some guys have stood out from a leadership standpoint, but we haven't had that one defining moment that says, hey, this is who's going to take over this team.
Coach, in terms of all of the freshmen things, in terms of the big picture, how do you feel about the freshman class and who's highly ranked and everything? And do you feel like this is a year where a lot of them are going to have to be
I don't know about forced into opportunities. They're going to earn it. I mean, we've got good depth at some positions. We don't have great depth at others. Sometimes the talent of the guy that came in is not shown because he may be at a position that has more depth. I mean, it's just the bottom line. I think as thin as we are in secondary, we have 3 to 4 freshmen that are in the 2 deep. So they're in there competing, battling, but they may not be on the field. But we got a lot of that freshman class is talented. I just don't know if they're going to be forced into action. It's going to come down to injuries. You're going to see a lot of them on special teams. But I don't really care if they're ranked coming in. I care how they do when they get here.
Talking about the guys that decided to come back last year, what an impact they were. DeAndre Baker wasn't a small thing, right? I mean, he had some opportunities, and I guess he's maybe the lone guy who made that decision this year. Can you just talk about that decision and what it meant for giving you kind of a cornerstone in the secondary?
Yeah, it would have been tough to replace all we had to replace, and then you add Bake. I think Bake made a good decision, but Bake probably was the most highly rated guy when it came to scouts' opinions who decided to come back. He had a tough decision to make, and I feel like he made the right one, and only time will tell if he improves and continues to work to move up the draft board. But he has a chance to do that. He's a talented player. He's played really well for us in big games. I mean, to think what he did, Alabama, Oklahoma, he covered some people at Auburn. Those last 3 games, he covered some guys. So very happy to have him back. He's been a good leader in the secondary for us thus far.
Where are you at in the return game as far as who's going to be doing what? You kind of made the decisions there?
Yeah, Miko and Akil will both do some punts. Miko, Tyler Simmons, Holyfield, Jason Stanley, and D-Rob have all been back at kickoff return. So kind of sharing it by committee at kickoff return. Punt will be Akil and Miko until Terry's back.
Coach,
What
do you
about,
think?
what about Star? Do you know what you're doing there?
Star is what's a unique position. I don't know what y'all count the star as. We have a star that's a linebacker. We have a star that's a DB. So Walter Grant has worked a lot at the star linebacker. Otis has worked at the star DB. William Poole and D'Angelo have both worked at star DB. So we're kind of using Otis more like a linebacker. So we have 2 stars, but it would be Walter and Poole or Walter and D'Lo right now.
Coach, do you think that the non-depth chart, is that something we're going to see more of moving forward with more programs because things have gotten so competitive in college football?
I don't know if that's the case. That's not like a big deal to me. Like y'all right to make a big deal about that. I didn't like plan that out and say, oh, there's no depth chart. What I like to do is have guys compete. And I also want the other team to figure out who the Sam is and who the star is and who the safety is because they ID those people. So I don't, to be honest with you, I don't have all their information all the time, and it's not always accurate. So I want a level playing field when it comes to that. Our kids know, and our kids have been communicated, and we substitute every day, so they have to know.
Just from a physical standpoint, is Otis kind of that perfect picture of a star, kind of what you like to have back up?
He's pretty good. He's physical,
Yeah.
but you want a guy that can cover. You know, Lorenzo could really cover well and run. Lorenzo was exceptionally fast for that size. Walter and Otis don't quite move like Lorenzo, but they're really physical and they're good tacklers. So he does fit the mold, but you want a guy that's quick and can cover too. Those slot guys like Akil and Miko can get you in a mismatch.
Kirby, talking about the return and the punt kick, have you figured out who's going to punt?
Punt, I couldn't tell you. I mean, today Jake Camarda hit some bombs, so I feel like he's earned the right, but I wouldn't say it's a final decision yet. We still got another day there.
Hey, 2 more questions. Kirby, can Trey Bishop play if his legal issue is not resolved before Saturday?
We'll handle it internally. So we will handle it internally.
Okay.
Coach, with Tyson Campbell, we spoke about him. Yeah, did it recently. How is he kind of prepared for the opportunity to play? And how is he different from the
Yeah, he's fast. I mean, that's what he is. He's fast, and he has an ability to make a mistake and catch up. He's been very level-headed. He doesn't get rattled a lot. He's a talented kid. I mean, so we're going to put him out there and let him go play some, and it may be rolling some with Mark Webb and Eric Stokes, but he has progressed. You know, he's only had 20-something practices, so he's come along pretty fast. I've been pleased with his progress and hope that he continues to do that. And every now and then he has some mishaps, and we got guys to go in there and help him if he does. Thank you guys for coming over. Appreciate it.